Looking for the ultimate hangout spot in Spearfish? The Clubhouse of Spearfish has it all. State-of-the-art golf simulators, epic sports action, and a full bar with delicious food. Test your swing on their TrackMan simulators, kick field goals, or even take on aliens. After the game, grab a bite and catch all the live sports at their bar. Whether you want to practice, play, or just relax, the golf club at Spearfish is your go-to entertainment hub. Hello and welcome back to First Amendment Media Sports. Today we're joined by Coach Eric Santure. Mr. Santure, thank you for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So you are the head strength and conditioning coach here at Spearfish High School, not athletic trainer like I said earlier.
Right.
But I really wanted to touch on and give people an opportunity to find out who you are and also kind of just talk about what you're doing within the high school as well. So first off, where you're from and as well as just give us a background on who you are.
So I grew up in Michigan. Monument Health hired me out here about, I think I'm going into my 5th year this September.
Oh.
So I was at a mid-major D1 in Detroit, Michigan at the time, and I had grown up in small town in Michigan. Family is involved in the kind of more rural lifestyle. And I wanted to get back to that, and so I sat down and knew it was kind of time to move on and start looking for other job opportunities. And so I made a couple different applications, had a couple different offers, and ultimately decided on Spearfish. So I've been here, moved here, met my wife, got married. We welcomed our daughter. She just turned 7 months.
Oh,
so
congratulations.
Thank you. So it's been a great move for me, both professionally and personally. As far as my background, I've worked full-time in the industry for, I think, going on 13 years now.
Wow. Okay.
Everything from private sector training. I trained just Olympic weightlifters for a long time. And then sport performance at the high school, youth, and collegiate levels.
Wow.
And have had a really great experience in the industry. I'm really passionate about it. I've been able to do some presentations. I went out to Baltimore last July and was able to present at the national conference, which was a really fantastic opportunity. So no complaints. I love what I do, and I'm happy that I get to do it here in Spearfish.
That's awesome. I feel like, 5 years ago is when you said you started, correct? Or you got here, excuse me. Mr. Wademan's been here a little while too. Wademan's awesome. We love Wademan. But I think overall, one thing that I've noticed is the culture shift that's happened in the last, 5 to 10 years, I would say. I would more accurately say 5 years because, I graduated in 2015 and kind of just saw I don't want to say the way the culture was, but I just saw how the programs were run back then. And it was kind of one of those things where, I don't think they were run bad anyway. I think that there's just a lot of times when you get into situations like that, you find out what works and what doesn't work. What do you think has worked so well for Spearfish in such a quick turnaround?
I think the fact that we have a coaching staff as a whole, first of all, I think it's important to note that this is by far the most qualified high school coaching staff I've ever worked with. I've been at, this is my 5th, maybe my 6th high school position. And if you look at our coaching staff and their qualifications, they are bar none the most qualified I've ever worked with. If you look at the coaching accomplishments that they have, past athletic accomplishments that they have, both at the high school and collegiate levels, I think you're going to be hard-pressed to find another staff that's as qualified as they are and also as passionate. And so I think when you have passion, you can combine that with real tactical knowledge of the game and the sport. I think that makes a huge improvement as far as buy-in. And the second piece of that is collectively as Spartan Athletics, we're moving towards a common goal, which is to be better people, be better athletes, be better Spartans. And I've really seen that take hold. And it's not just one program doing that. We all have the same collective goal as an athletic department. And I think that's really changed the culture overall as a school. The other piece of it too is that we have administrators and we have an athletic director in Dalton Wademan, and we have other head coaches who are constantly trying to move the needle. So on my side of things, for example, last summer, the Booster Club gave me $35,000 and we moved the weight room. And so we put $35,000 just in flooring into the new weight room. And it went from around 2,800 square feet to almost 4,800 square feet. So we
That place
just
is
about
nice.
doubled the size of the weight room. And without the support of the community and the support of the Booster Club, that doesn't happen.
Yep.
And so I can't say enough great things about the Booster Club and everything to do with Spartan Athletics, but all these small pieces and big decisions that have happened have really helped us continue to bring Spearfish Athletics in kind of into the next evolution of itself. And I'm really excited to see what we do this year.
Oh, absolutely. Me too. And I think the big thing about it too was, and I was talking to Coach Teason and Mr. Wademan kind of about, what sets the tone. I mean, football and volleyball, they definitely set the tone for the rest of the year. And to see both of them do so well, it was kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, like we might have something here. And then you saw it definitely translate through wrestling and through basketball and all that stuff. What do you, as far as a philosophy, now, when we talk about the different sports, I feel like you've coached college athletes, so you know that obviously that they stick with one sport, usually kind of a similar training regimen, if you will. What do you think as far as when kids are in high school or when athletes are in high school, what are some things that you look at from a training perspective that maybe is transferable across all sports?
So most sports, 90% of them, you need to be powerful. You need to be able to generate power, create power, put power into the floor, put force into the floor. And so we spend a lot of time with looking at power as not really a metric that we can test and measure at the high school level, but definitely something that we're concerned with as far as what we're doing, how we're doing it. Anything from potentiation, like we might do a set of back squats and then go immediately into a set of vertical jumps or broad jumps immediately afterwards, and we can get that potentiation aspect of it. And one of my hardest jobs as a high school strength coach compared to maybe my counterparts at the collegiate level is I might have a 3-sport athlete who's really good. I might have an athlete who plays football, plays basketball, and runs track. Or I might have a female athlete who plays volleyball or runs cross country, plays women's basketball, and then runs track. When I create a training program, I have to make sure that the intensity and the volume, so the intensity being how much load we're moving, how much weight we're moving, and the volume, so how many reps we're doing, I have to get those programs to line up across the entirety of the year. So with 3-sport athletes, it's really challenging, and it's also important because we have to look at volume, we have to look at intensity, we have to look at load management as far as how much we're giving these kids and when, especially if they're a multi-sport athlete. So you may have a preseason football athlete who's doing the preseason football program, but I might have out-of-season basketball players doing an out-of-season basketball program right now during the summer. I then have to get those 2 programs to line up for the in-season basketball program. Because in South Dakota, end of football and beginning of basketball, we have a very short window.
Yep.
And I also have to make sure that if I'm preparing them for football, which is our primary objective at that time, I also have to make sure that they're going to be moderately prepared for basketball when I hand them over to Coach Schultz. And so getting all those pieces to fit and match up, I didn't expect it to be as time-consuming or as integral to what I'm doing, but it really is. And so, and I think we've seen that with our reduction in injury rate that we've had across all athletics and all sports. And we've also had a great buy-in in the program too. So I think that helps a lot.
Well, then it's really interesting that you talk about the buy-in too, because I was lucky enough for you to be gracious enough to let me stop in last week and be a part of some of the lifting sessions, get some pictures and content and everything. And one of the players that was in there was Hunter Walters. Now, we've had him on the podcast a couple of times. I've been around it long enough to know that sometimes there are locker room guys that, regardless of how good they are on the field, just from an attitude standpoint, they can set the tone. What's that like because I know obviously when you're in the locker room, that's different from when you are in a weightlifting or in just a strength and conditioning aspect. But what's it like to have kids like that where, they do set the tone, they do have that buy-in that you're talking about?
I mean, Hunter's a great example of that, obviously. He's a kid that we put on 22 pounds in 4 months.
Holy cow.
He didn't really change body composition. We increased his vertical jump by 6.5 inches.
While putting on weight?
22 pounds heavier.
Wow.
We increased his vertical jump by 6.5 inches. And he ran personal best in the 100 and 200 in track season. all while putting on successful weight. And so that's kind of the idea of training for power and training for sport compared to working out or maybe just going to the rec center and doing something. It's training with a purpose and getting kids to buy into not just what we're doing, but why we're doing it is a really important factor. And, you know, I have so many examples of that, of kids that have done a phenomenal job of buying into not just doing it, but why we're doing it and doing it with intent. Is something that I say a lot. What's the intent of what we're doing right now for today's training? Why are we doing it? And I welcome those conversations. And I've really seen an uptick in the questions and the conversations that I've had with athletes. And I think that correlates to better performance on the field. If we understand that, you know, we're doing a vertical jump or a back squat and what the correlation to that looks like on the basketball court, the volleyball court, the football field, even the cross country course, we're going to have better buy-in, but we're also going to have better performance. Yep. So I think that's a really important part. And, you know, when I came to Spearfish, we had the original weight room. But I also inherited, I think I had 76 kids on program.
Wow.
So I had 76 kids. Most of them were football and volleyball when I came in. We've transitioned to a program called Team Builder, which is also bought and paid for by the Booster Club. Thank you very much. And on Team Builder right now at this moment, I have 498 athletes on Team Builder.
Holy cow. Okay.
Yep. We have 498 athletes on Team Builder. Right now in our summer program, we are averaging 236 kids a day.
That's awesome. Okay.
So, yeah, we're averaging 236 kids a day, which is just incredible that we're having that many athletes come in through the weight room Monday through Thursday to train. I've consistently got 8 to 12 kids on makeup sessions on Fridays, and that matters.
Yeah.
Not just the training aspect, but also the fact that they're there together with a team. They're bonding, they're working together, and they all have one common goal, one common purpose, which is something that's really evolved in the last couple of years.
Do you now, on one portion of that, we talk about the buy-in just from a strength and conditioning side of things. What about from a meal and a nutrition standpoint? Like, I understand also in high school, like you got a little bit more freedom, and you know, with some of this, I feel like, I mean, shoot, when I was in high school, I could eat 3 cheeseburgers and not, you know, I gained a pound. But now I barely look at one. But what, and from a nutrition standpoint, is the most important for a high school athlete?
The NSCA has some guidelines that they recommend, especially for high school athletes, and that's kind of where I base most of my knowledge from. So I recommend that athletes get as much protein as they can, and as much as they can tolerate, really. One thing that I'm really excited about is that we have started the Spartan Nutrition Center. And so we have protein that's supplied. We have other snacks. We have chocolate milk. We have protein bars. We have beef jerky from Build Your Base or Beef Logic program, which is right here in South Dakota.
Awesome.
And all those things really help our athletes not just get proper fueling after their training program or after their practice, but it also allows them, if they're in early or here late or they need a snack before they go to practice, even if they're done with their lift, they just come up and they grab what they need.
Awesome.
And so not only is fueling important to continue to get better and build more lean muscle mass, but it's also important for things like injury reduction as well. A fueled body is an efficient body, and when we become inefficient, bad things might happen. That's not saying that it will or that it could, but you know, if we get a good 8 hours of sleep and we're well fueled, we're probably going to perform better.
Yeah.
And if we're performing better, we're probably going to have a less risk of injury.
Yeah. As it pertains to kind of moving the needle, when you talk about, you know, the rest, whether it's you and the rest of the staff that are trying to move the needle, when you see the success that pretty much every program, I think there's examples in every program athletically that we could point to from this last year. What is, in your opinion, the next step of kind of moving that needle and just continuing the really the growing of the Spearfish Spartans activities?
Honestly, this isn't a flashy answer, but it's an honest one. You just keep doing the work. I don't think that there's anything that we can really change or adapt to that's going to make a huge impact. I think we have to continue to maintain the consistency that we have. I think we have to continue doing the work. We have to continue getting to the weight room, showing up at open fields, doing all the extra things. It's really easy to do what's expected, and great athletes and great programs go above and beyond that. So it's not just showing up to an open gym and an open field and getting shots on a net or doing footwork drills for football or whatever it is. It's, that's expected. That's planned by a coach. It's doing all the other small things, getting the right amount of sleep, getting up extra shots, asking coaching staff, what can we do? What can I work on? And it's just doing the work. And the great thing is that we have a tremendous amount of kids that are doing that.
Awesome.
And I think that'll make all the difference.
So another thing I wanted to touch on was when we talk about individualized plans, or when we talk about athletes in general, like every athlete is different. So how do you kind of plan for that? How do you kind of put together those plans for each individual athlete?
So the big thing, and I stress this to the kids a lot, so I'll do whiteboard talks to where I'll pick a topic and I'll kind of break down the science behind what it is. The difference between maybe a true strength and conditioning coach compared to maybe somebody else is, for example, I have a bachelor's in sport performance, which is a bachelor's of science. I have a master's of science in exercise physiology and an emphasis in program design and energy system manipulation, which means when I design a program, that program is meant to appropriately progress the athlete over time. And so I can then account for not giving them too much too soon and not too little too late, or whatever you want to say. So that's a huge part. And then my certification through the NSCA is a CSCS, so Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist. And that is a kind of the gold standard certification in my industry for strength and conditioning coaches. And there's the tremendous amount of resources and also research that the NSCA produces that we can use. And so it's constantly changing, the industry itself and also the research. We're discovering new things all the time. So staying up to date on that and utilizing just my education, my certification, and also my years of experience, I've got a pretty good idea of how to progress an athlete, not just from sport to sport, like football to basketball, but also from freshman to sophomore, sophomore to junior, and junior to senior. And the biggest way that we do that is Team Builder, which is a wonderful program. I will enter a program in on my side of things, and then that goes to all of the kids, and then actually they can see it on their phones, or we've got 2 computers in the weight room that they can pull their program up on. So when I assign a percentage, let's say that we're doing a set of back squats at 60%, the app will actually auto-populate what weight they're supposed to be at based off of previous testing or based off of previous weight moved. And so then I've got a kid who, let's say, I'm working with my female volleyball team, and I've got 2 athletes. One's a junior, one's a freshman. One has been in the program since she was in 7th grade, and one, this is her first time. Probably not going to be lifting the same weights, but they should both still be at 60% to get the appropriate stimulus and get the appropriate training effect. And so each of their 60% are different. And that allows me to not only protect them, but also progress them appropriately. And so I think that's a huge part of trusting the science and using that to make sure these kids are not only progressing, but doing so safely.
Okay. Gotcha. And yeah, like I feel like that is something where, when you come in as a freshman, especially a high school student coming in, like the bodies are going to change so much. I mean, just growth and, speed, strength, all that kind of stuff is definitely going to be a big part of that. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, it's beneficial as well. The fact that I work for Monument Health. Monument Health places me full-time inside the high school. And so my counterpart, I'm going to blank on her new last name, Jessica Harkless. Jessica Harkless is my counterpart. She's the athletic trainer here at Spearfish. And so if we do have an athlete who maybe has a sore shoulder or there's something going on, not only do I have an athletic trainer who's phenomenal, but I've also got the entire care team at Monument Health, physical therapists, orthopedic specialists, all those kinds of things. And so not only are they being trained and progressed safely and with scientific principle in the weight room, they also have this entire other side of care and progress from athletic training to physical therapy to orthopedic specialists that they have access to. And I think that's a huge reason why we are having a success, because we're having athletes be healthier, feel better, perform better, and I think that's a big piece of the puzzle.
And I think you can definitely see it too. Like
Yeah.
you can definitely see it with the correlation with the success that, that kind of came from this last year and everything. But no, I think that's awesome. I really just, like I said, I really wanted to kind of just preview who you were and just kind of let, the community know and how we're trying to help tell the Spartan story. Anything else you'd like to add? Maybe just whether it's about the summer stuff or whatever whatever else that you think would help highlight the programs, or anything else you'd like to say?
I think that what we've seen this summer, with the numbers that we've had, it wouldn't be possible without the new weight room. And two, I think that when you have the amount of participation and the buy-in that we have, I think that only good things can happen. So I'm really excited to see what these kids can do this year. The best part of my job is the fact that I don't have to worry about yards gained or points scored. I just worry about preparing the kids to perform the best they possibly can, train them the best that I possibly can, and then I hand them over to Johnson, Schultz, Teason, Van Dies, whoever it may be, and then let them mold them into the player that they want to be. I just give them the best athlete possible, and so that's the best part of my job. And I think we're about as well prepared as we could be in late July right now. So I'm really excited.
Awesome. Well, like I said, thank you so much for coming on. Good luck the rest of the year, and go Spartans.
Awesome. Yeah, go Spartans.
This production is brought to you by our sponsors: Black Mountain Painting, Legacy Custom Homes and Design, Spearfish Building Supply, the Bashful Bison in Rapid City, Signature Auto Sales, Adam Johnson Pioneer Properties, Millstone Family Restaurant in Spearfish, the Clubhouse of Spearfish, the Golf Club at Devil's Tower, McDonald's in Spearfish, Good Earth Natural Foods, I Love Spearfish, Queen City Door, American Family Insurance Mariah Duvall Agency, Tropical Smoothie Cafe in Spearfish, MJ Plumbing, and Northern Hills Golf Car.